What up, guys? Welcome back to the vlog. It has been a minute, but man, I have been super busy. If you're following me on Instagram, you've been seeing all the crazy stuff that I've been up to. It has been ultra time consuming, and things like YouTube videos and especially doing the editing have been a lot harder for me to do. But we have a cool one today because we've got some new cars coming in, which are going to be big ones for not only us at Toprank, but big ones for you guys if you are looking to get an R34 without the price tag of a GTR. And what I'm talking about is the R34 GTT, which is a rear-wheel drive, single turbo version of the R34. These cars are super cool in their own right. You can get it in a coupe, in a sedan, but we're gonna start here with a standard coupe so you guys can get an idea basically of what these cars are all about. This car is an R34 GTT coupe. So you can see this one has the front bumper on it, but it still has the standard rear fenders on it, which we'll get into a little bit later. The R34 GTT rear fenders are not as wide as a standard R34 GTR, and the body itself is a bit narrower, so people will add these side skirts, the GTR rear bumper, rear tail lights, rear wing to kind of give it that appearance. You can see this one here is a GTR rear badge, which I don't totally agree with. We'll probably take this off before we get it ready for sale, but it does have the R34 GTR wheels, which I think is really cool and completely acceptable to leave the logo on those, since that's how the wheels come. So if you want the GTR look, you're going to need GTR fenders, GTR bumper, GTR headlight, GTR hood to get it all together to look right. If you don't get a bracket mounting kit that you definitely need, you're going to have a gap here, just like we have on this one. So for $1,000, you can buy a kit that is going to make this look more realistically or harder to tell from the front that it's not a GTR. If you see that gap, it's definitely a GTT because the fenders don't fit totally correct. Again, the GTR wheels on this really do make it kind of convincing. It is hard to tell without having an R34 GTR next to it that the rear fenders are actually that much wider than they are on a GTR. And then of course, things like the GTR wing make this really a bit more convincing for sure. The GTT wing has a very different wing to it. This one probably came from like AliExpress or something like that. My friend Blake, who just got a Skyline GT R34, ordered one of these wings, and it turned out pretty good. We'll jump into a wing that's similar to that here right now when we walk over to this R34 GTT that has the wide body kit on it. So what I'm talking about is the wider rear fenders. So there's two ways of doing this. You can buy genuine R34 GTR fenders, but what's going to happen there is you're going to need to cut right here. This whole fender comes off, all of the welds and everything come out, and you totally replace the fender with a brand new R34 GTR fender. It will fit OEM factory on here with a little bit of cutting, and it will look very good because it's completely OEM, which is obviously the way you want to go if you want it to really convincingly look like an R34 GTR. Now, most people say, well, it's not an R34 GTR and I don't need it to be one, but I do like the wider fenders because it opens up some new wheel options, definitely makes it a bit more aggressive. And then you can do something like this, which is the Urus style kit. So this is actually an over fender that lays over the top of the fender. So you do see this line here, but I mean, from the side, you can't really tell it's there, and it does look really good. The other thing that this has is a Z-Tune style front fender. You'll note that this bumper fits a lot better than the other one. It lines directly up with it. That's because these fenders are intended to support this style bumper and this hood. So you have this whole kind of GTR look about this car, obviously without it being a GTR, but it does really get the look that most people want out of an R34. And to give you an idea, a car like this is about $60,000 versus an R34 GTR like this that would be probably $200,000. So big difference there. Diving back into the wing, this is that wing that I was talking about that looks very convincingly like a genuine R34 GTR wing. if you want a genuine R34 GTR wing, that wing is going to cost you $4,000 right now, whereas this wing is going to cost you $400 right now, and you get the carbon fiber look of the standard R34 GTR, and you also get the wing with the proper risers that gives you that genuine look. Now, it's not a genuine piece, but it's also not a genuine GTR, so to me, I'd rather spend the $400 than the $4,000. It doesn't really matter on the GTTs as much as a GTR. One last look here at what this coupe looks like before we jump over into the sedan. Now, what's cool about the sedan is that unlike the R34 GTR, where you got the Attn version of the R33 GTR as a true GTR, the R34 did not get that, but they did get a GTT version of the sedan, which is really cool in its own right if you want that four-door life. This one here has all of the standard GTT stuff on it, has the standard GTT wing, which you can see a big difference between this and a GTR style wing. Similar shape, but much lower, no carbon backing piece, and is a little bit more stealthy looking of a wing. Also Bayside blue, just like the other GTTs that we saw. By far the most popular color. It looks like a GTR as a GTT. This one does have a GTR style front bumper on it, so it looks a little bit more aggressive, but the four doors are very cool because you can actually get a similar rear wide body kit like this one has for this, which actually starts at the door, comes up and goes through here, so you can make this a lot wider, and then it really does start to look like a four-door GTR, which is pretty cool. So whether you're looking for something that's going to be just a stock looking kind of Skyline with that front GTR look, or you want a full GTR look with the wider fenders in the rear, or you want a four-door, there is a Skyline for you if you are not looking to spend that R34 GTR money. So getting into the pricing on these, as mentioned, we're not spending R34 GTR money, we are looking at GTT money, and what you should expect to spend is for a four-door like this one. We just sold one today for $25,000. So that is a manual turbo four-door R34 for $25,000. Now date stamp this because those prices are definitely absolutely gonna go up. Behind me, the stock looking R34 face GTT, you're going to be looking to spend probably somewhere in the mid 40s and up for one of those. And if you want the whole thing like this, plan to spend about 60. Now, while that sounds kind of expensive, keep in mind I did say earlier that this car, if it was a GTR and really had the Z-Tune look and everything about it as a GTR, would be closer to $200,000. So a lot of money to get yourself a GTR, less money to get yourself a GTT. The R34 GTT is eligible for import now, so being a 1998 car, some of these cars are starting to show up here at Toprank, which means once they're in our inventory, we do all the maintenance, service, inspection, and everything that the car needs to go ahead and get it listed, so that way when you buy it, it's completely turnkey, doesn't need anything. There's a lot of financing options available once the car's already here in the US, so plenty of ways to get yourself into one of these. If you're looking to buy one that's still in Japan, we have financing options for that too. So we really do try to make it as easy as possible to get into one of these cars. And if you want an R34 GTR, we absolutely have those too. But if it's not time for a GTR yet, then maybe a GTT is the way to go. Lots of options for those. Now this car and this car are already sold and are heading to their new owners today. We do have this Bayside blue car, which is, as mentioned, the GTT that will be available for purchase on our website shortly. This car should be priced somewhere in the high 50s to low 60s, but we'll have plenty of other ones with prices ranging anywhere from $25,000 and up, depending on what you're looking for. So if you're looking for an R34, you want a GTT, definitely let me know. Plenty more on the way. This car is sold and is shipping, and I wasn't lying because it's shipping right now, a little sooner than we even expected. Knew it was going out today, but transporters here, we're getting it loaded on the truck. So one of these GTTs already on its way to its new owner. As for the others, I did mention we have that one for sale, and we've got somebody here to check it out right now. Somebody that actually I personally know. It is my buddy Shane. Shane bought my old Supra. If you guys remember this one, This was my Supra at one point. I sold it to him and inherited the 911 in its place. Good to see you. And seems like Shane's been having a good time with it, but he's here now to look at a GTT. Here he is. Brought the Supra back, and now he is here, and we are gonna take out this GTT and see what Shane thinks about it. He's maybe in the market for one, and no better one than one that's already here to test drive and see if you like it. So it's already running. Hear the roar of that beautiful RB25.
Sounds good.
Keys are in it.
All right, let's do it.
Let's go. Right away inside, notice there's a few things missing that you wouldn't have in a car if this was a GTR. Right here, the MFD is typically right here, which is your screen that controls everything, but you get these boost gauges, which are very similar to what you would see in an R33. Cluster is a little bit different, seats are different, but mostly the same as a GTR. We're gonna take a left.
5-speed, 6-speed, what is it?
Yeah, so there's another topping point. So the R34 GTR comes with a 6-speed get reg, so same as the Supra had. It's a V160. The R34 GTT comes with a 5-speed transmission.
Ooh,
got that little
sounds good.
Got that little sound in there. So what you're hearing there is the blow-off valve. That is, of course, the HKS Super Sequential.
This thing's sweet.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what makes these cars so fun to drive. You just get in, let it whiz.
I mean, the R34 GTT does really have the look. It has the sounds. It has the chassis code. I mean, it's still an R34, so, you know, to me, it's a great car. I love them. I think they're great. I don't think that it's like the consolation prize for an R34 GTR. I think it's just its own car that is also very cool, just like how I said earlier, a 911 GTS is its own car. It's very cool. It doesn't have to be a GT3 or GT3 RS. It's still a cool car in all of its own ways, and you can't shade anybody for having one of those, just like you shouldn't for having one of these.
Dude, I love this thing. This thing is an actual blast to drive.
Yeah, this one has, it makes all the noises, it makes all the sounds. It feels pretty good to drive, has the looks, yeah. I mean, you don't necessarily need a GTR to have a good R34.
Yeah.
All right, so we're back. I think it's safe to say Shane kind of likes it.
I'm a fan.
Overall, pretty good driving experience.
I would say after driving the 33 GTR and then the 34 GTT, for what I would do driving wise, I would really enjoy a 34 GTT. Can do all the mods that I want to it, feel comfortable on the road. Like, this is a pretty dope car. I like this a lot.
Well, there you have it. GTT for the win. As always, thanks for checking out the video. I'm gonna try to be better about showing some of these new cars that are coming in, because there's so much cool stuff on the way, especially as we get closer to the year 1999, production year, meaning 2024. Whole wave of cool stuff comes in, like R34 GTRs, Sylvia S15 Spec Rs, and so much more. So if you could, like, subscribe, and stick with me as we check out more legendary Japanese cars coming here to the US, and we'll see you guys in the next one.